Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah lillahi. Nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfirullah wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlil fala hadiya lahu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Sorry you guys, I don't look really professional today. I've seriously redone the beginning of this video like 10 times. I haven't been feeling very well. I keep having to clear my throat because I'm having trouble speaking and pronouncing things, and maybe I just need coffee. But so the Deen Talk videos, today we were supposed to start a small series on women in Islam, but yesterday something came out that I felt needed to be discussed immediately. There have been scholars who have spoken out about it recently due to these issues which came to light, but I think that we need to talk about it not just in an Islamic context, but we need to talk about it in general, and that is imbalance of power and using said imbalance to prey upon people in a sexual manner. So I'm not really going to get into it. There's a lot of talk about it right now on social media. There is a lot of people commenting and being like, we're all just speculating here. We need to stop talking. It's spreading fitna, things like that. Astaghfirullah, but what came out is that there has been an investigation on Numan Ali Khan, who is a scholar in the Dallas area. He's very famous on, YouTube. He teaches at the Bayina Institute in Texas. And the purpose of this investigation is because accusations came to other scholars in the area that he was inappropriately using his position as an ustad, or as a sheikh, if some people give him that title. He was using this position in order to form inappropriate, both professionally inappropriate and Islamically inappropriate relationships with his female students. And there are a lot of scholars who have come out, they've corroborated this. Just to name a few, Mufti Hussein Kamani, Sheikh Yasser Birjas, Abdul Nasir Jangda, and Imam Omar Suleiman. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to really get into it. Alhamdulillah, these scholars who were involved in the investigation, they're not really getting into it. And that is because they are protecting the victims who've come forward. And instead of spreading around exactly what happened, they are allowing these victims to heal privately. And that is extremely important. So I'm not going to get into everything. You can look it up online. And there's a lot of people, who are saying like, oh, we shouldn't be talking about this because it's spreading fitna and it's spreading, you're just speculating. You don't know what happened. But the thing is, if we have that attitude, when we talk about scholars, if we have that attitude when we talk about teachers, if we have that attitude when we talk about anybody in a position of power, that's extremely dangerous. Okay, so even if a scholar does something, say, we've all heard about, years ago, not years ago, like it's still an issue, but whenever Pope Francis took his seat as Pope in the Vatican City, he did a lot to bring priests, to justice, because there was rampant pedophilia in the church. And these priests were using their power as someone in a high position to convince these children to perform sexual acts on them. Astaghfirullah. Okay? Obviously, that's illegal. Like, that's illegal in a religious sense, and it's illegal in a legal sense, like a civil legal sense. Most countries have laws that protect children against things like this. But so even if a scholar just, say it wasn't the Catholic Church, because in the Catholic Church, priests take a vow of celibacy. So they can't have sex, which is why it's a big deal whenever they were doing this, aside from the fact that it was pedophilia and illegal. But so say it's a teacher at a college, a teacher at a high school, a teacher who just tutors people, whatever. And they say maybe they're attracted to one of their students, and they say to their student, hey, we're two consenting individuals. Let's go do something. Or they start flirting with their student. There are a lot of times, unfortunately, where the person who is the student does not feel like they have the ability to say no or to report the behavior of the teacher because the teacher is in the position of power. And so because of this, they allow the flirting to continue. They allow the sexual harassment to continue. They don't report sexual assault. They don't verbally say no when it comes to performing sexual acts because they feel like they're not in a position where they can do so. And so, unfortunately, like our society, not just Islamic society, but society in general, doesn't talk about this kind of stuff really. And so people don't know that they can say no. People don't know that they can go to the police or go to a higher authority in the school and say, this is happening to me, because they think that it's allowed, and so we really, really need to talk about this. We really, really need to talk about this. When it comes to light that scholars have done something that's inappropriate, even if it's not illegal in the country that they live in, it needs to be talked about. Okay? If it's just speculation, if someone just said something, if it's just a rumor, okay, don't talk about that. Don't give names. Don't, talk about specifics. But if it comes out that there was an investigation, that the person has admitted to it, or even if the person hasn't admitted to it, if multiple victims have come forward and said, this has happened to me, okay, we need to treat this very seriously. We need to let people know. We can't just say, oh, you shouldn't out people's sins, because if we don't talk about it, if we don't say this teacher has been known to prey upon their students, or this preacher or this priest has had multiple allegations against them, or anything like that, if we don't say that, then people don't know that they are in a potentially unsafe situation. They don't know that other people have come forward about this person. So then again, they don't feel safe coming forward. Okay? So even if we aren't talking about the situation that came out yesterday, we need to acknowledge that this stuff happens. All right? And what I'm seeing a lot of on Twitter right now is a lot of people are saying, don't talk about it. It's fitna. Don't talk about it. You're telling other people's sins. As Muslims, we're supposed to hide people's sins for them. If the situation was that a scholar made a mistake, he started an inappropriate relationship with one student, and he went to a friend, another scholar, and he said, look, I've done something wrong and I need help. Please help me end this relationship. Please help me get therapy or whatever it is that's necessary. In that situation, yes, absolutely, hide that person's sin. This person is admitting that they made a mistake. They are trying to change it. If we're in a situation, though, where there are multiple people, where this person is using their power to prey upon the people that they're supposed to be making dawah to the people they're supposed to be teaching. Okay, if they are, doing anything that's inappropriate with them because they feel like they have this power and they can get away with it, then we need to talk about it. Okay, now when it comes to this particular incident, it wasn't talked about until now, because when the investigation was complete, there was, according to these scholars who can corroborate everything and who were a part of this, there was some sort of contract that said, you can't, you can no longer speak on issues of marriage. You can no longer speak on issues of permissible and impermissible relationships in Islam. But you can still post old lectures, and you're going to need to go and get religious counseling. You're going to need to go and get another form of counseling of some sort. And so it wasn't talked about because, according to them, they were trying to handle it privately, and they were trying to hide and cover his sin, which they felt needed to happen because of their interpretation of Sharia, their understanding of it as scholars. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. The victims that had come forward were okay with this situation. The reason it came out yesterday, and the reason it's now being spoken about, and the reason it's now been confirmed across the internet, is because the person at fault failed to perform his end of the contract, but he willingly broke his end of the contract and is now allegedly threatening people and badgering people, and is now claiming that things that he admitted to and things that victims have corroborated and come forward about that are the same across the board, he's now claiming it's all lies. Or at least that's what I understand from what I read. So that's why it's being talked about now, because they tried to cover his sins, and they tried to get him help. Okay? Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that we should help the oppressed, okay? And we should help the oppressor. And when he was questioned, okay, how do we help the oppressor if we're helping the oppressed? He said, prevent them from oppressing people. So when we talk about it, that is what we're doing. Okay? When we talk about it, we're saying, you need to know that this person is potentially unsafe. Or when we talk about it in general, like I'm trying to do here, okay, we need to let people know that they can get in these potentially unsafe situations. But should they ever get into this situation, they can say no, okay, and they can go to other people, they can go to other people that are higher up and say, this is happening to me and I need help. I need it to be stopped. Okay? So, don't sit there and say we need to hide their sins. Yes, to a point we need to hide their sins. But what's more important is helping people be safe. It's helping people not get hurt. Okay? Don't sit there and say, oh, nothing illegal happened. He didn't sexually assault anyone, if that's the case. Because they're in a position of power, and if there's an imbalance of power, then they are inappropriately using their position to gain inappropriate relationships, be it flirting, be it sexual harassment, be it sexual favors for grades or for whatever, be it a intimate relationship. Okay, if a person if they as two consenting adults, okay, cannot come forward and go to whoever is in charge of the person who's in the position of power and say, we as two consenting adults would like to start this relationship. We're aware that it's prohibited by the contract of the school or whatever situation they're in. And they say, which is why we wanted to come and let you know that we would like to start this relationship and get permission to be able to carry out this relationship. Okay? If you can't do that, if you have to hide that this relationship is existing, then it's not okay. All right? So even if astaghfirullah, even if this person in the position of power did not outright sexually assault or rape someone, okay, we can't belittle the fact that there's something else going on, that this is not complete 100% consent, and that it's not okay. Okay? And very, very importantly, we cannot blame the victim. And in situations like this, you should not come out and say victim in air quotes, which is what I've seen. Okay, that's inappropriate. There have been multiple people who have come forward. Okay, and inshallah, in situations like this, we should all be supporting people who are in these positions, who have been hurt by people in positions of power. And we should encourage them to heal. We should encourage them to seek legal recourse if necessary. Okay? But never, never should we blame them or make them feel like what happened to them doesn't matter, because that's despicable. Okay? As someone who has been in similar positions, as someone who is a survivor of multiple forms of abuse and sexual assault, that is despicable. Okay? So this has been a really long video, and I get that it's been, some of it I've kind of ranted, and maybe that's not appropriate. But given what I've been through, and given what I'm seeing right now, where half of the people are saying, yes, it is absolutely important that we come out and talk about this so we can protect people, and then the other half are coming out and saying, no, you shouldn't be talking about this because we need to hide this person's sin. We should not be privileging the accused individual over the safety of potential victims. Point blank. Okay. So that is really what I needed to say on the matter. If anybody, needs to talk about it, if something has happened to you, whether it be a situation like this, whether it be sexual assault or rape, please know that you can come to me. And there are plenty of other people that you can go to who will listen to you and who will do whatever they can to help you. Okay? I am absolutely an ally and an advocate for anyone who's been put in a position like this. And if you feel like you just need someone to talk to, but you don't want to go to the authorities, I'll support you in that as well. Even if I don't necessarily agree, and I would let you know that. I will support you 100%, whatever you decide, because it's you, and as a victim, you need to do what you need to do to heal. Okay? Inshallah, this situation gets resolved. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Ash-Shafi Al-Adil As-Salam grant peace and healing and justice to all of the victims in this situation and in situations across the world, across the society, across everything that are in similar situations. And may Ash-Shafi Al-Hadi heal and guide those who are in positions of power. Help them heal their hearts and guide them to stop doing these things and put them back on the straight path. Ameen. Okay, so next week, inshallah, on Jummah, we will start the talk for women in Islam. And inshallah, this weekend, I will be putting up reviews and other things That should have gone up this week since I wasn't feeling well. And inshallah, it will all go according to schedule since I'm starting to feel better. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Sorry. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadin abduhu wa rasuluh. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry that it was such a difficult subject today for me and for you. And I'm sorry for any weirdness in my voice or like difficulty talking since I haven't been feeling well. Inshallah, I'll see you very soon. Next week we can get on to less difficult but still extremely important topics when it comes to the Ummah. All right. Jazakumullahu khairan for watching. Bye, guys.